News, views, voices of the global Indian community. India abroad.
So I think, with the Indian elections, with the third time of the BJP government, what all of us need to think about is, will India get rich before it gets old? We have a tremendous demographic dividend, but the wind is behind us. But at the end of the day, we need to create, jobs, and for jobs you need predictability, consistency, and transparency of regulations. So what the international community and the international business group are thinking about is, can we make long-term investments, not just investments in the stock exchange, but FDI, where you're hiring local talent, you're buying land, making factories. And I think that is where we are looking at India for the next 5 to 10 years.
Nitin Mehta, I was privileged to hear about Milan's entire dissertation on India, BJP election, but much more the historical perspective. And he did an outstanding job. My challenge that I see is that the US is about $80,000 GDP per capita. India is only $2,800. So we are about 3.5% of US. Now, of course, GDP is not the only measure. Maybe it's a purchasing parity, but we are so far behind. What next level of any governance, whether it's BJP, non-BJP, how do we as India get to 20-30% of GDP as opposed to 3.5% in the world? It is so difficult. And so many criticism, including this gentleman Milan, is all about, do we do secularism right? Do we do such and such right? It's not so easy, those questions. It's about how do we grow ourselves over the next 20, 30 years to truly take a major, for $1.4 billion, a major position in the world economy.
So do you think that this election result is taking India in that direction?
It actually, luckily, it has kept him in power. It doesn't matter whether it's coalition or not. He's very smart. I worry about not the 5 years, but the next 25 years. Because we have to take a purposeful view. If I show you what India and China has done over the last 25 years, 30 years, it's extraordinary. You have to take that much perspective because you can't change something right away. So, a lot of work to do.
So, a lot of work to do, but India is on track, and the present election is not going to interfere with it.
I don't think it is going to interfere it at all, but there is a lot of work to be done.
We have with us Kanwal Rekhi. What was your reaction to the election results as they rolled out?
Very impressive. MSP. Very good, because the Indian voters showed who is the boss. And you can start all you want, 400 bar, up to 400 bar, but Indian voters, put them in place.
The diaspora's reaction, Vivek, to the election result in India?
Well, first of all, very proud that 950 million people eligible to vote, 640 million of them voted, all electronic, something that every Indian can be super proud of. True democracy, all electronic, amazing. So I think that people are optimistic. I waited my whole life for this India to emerge. An India that's a powerhouse economically in the future. An India where people have a toilet, people have drinking water, people have shelter over their heads. And we're seeing that India emerge.
Do you agree with the speaker's view that instead of focusing on toilet and but the focus on larger issues like health and education would drive India towards its goal faster?
I think we got to unfortunately do it all. To me, it's all one and the same. How do you improve people's quality of life? And if you can take hundreds of millions of people and move them from poverty to the middle class, which the policies appear to be doing, then that's a huge accomplishment.
And do you think the election is going to, the change in majority is going to interfere with the trajectory India is on, or is it going to aid it?
I think the toothpaste is out of the tube. Indians have seen a better way. They've seen that capitalism is working after a very long love affair with socialism. India's firmly in the capitalist camp now. So I believe that this is India's time. India's time is coming.
Sanjay Subhedar, and we're talking about the Indian elections. And what is impressive is out of 900 million people eligible to vote, 600 million plus voted, and that's the largest voting bloc in any country, and then all electronic voting machines, and the elections went off smoothly over, I think, a month and a half, I think, seven different days, and there was no concern about the voting itself, and that was very impressive. And what was also impressive is that the Indian electorate, voters are very smart. I mean, they push back on Modi's Abki Baar 400 Paar. They did not want that, and so Congress came back. Modi, instead of 303 seats which he had last election, he only got 240. So it shows that the incumbency and all the stuff that Modi did was not enough to give him the majority by itself, and so he has to get a coalition, which is good. So I hope it chastens him and doesn't harden him, and with Telugu Desam and the Nitish Kumar's party. So it will be interesting to see that how Modi governs, because he's been a little bit of an autocrat, and I hope that changes, because he was taking the country in a non-secular path, which I hope is the reason he didn't get as many votes. And so I hope that we get back to a more secular
Congress
did very well, and UP, Yogi Adityanath had many of his candidates were not selected, and so Amit Shah and Modi picked their own candidates, and many of those lost. So of the 80 seats in UP, that was the biggest loss for the BJP. So the lesson that BJP should learn is that it is not all about Modi, and he should take that heed that the will of the voters, and I hope that the good news is democracy won, free and fair elections won, and I hope that the economic policies of Modi are very good, and I hope he continues to do that. But his other social agenda needs to be a little bit more moderated from being all about Hindutva and against Dalits or against Muslims or minorities.